is my final presentation for my Tableau Vivant, and I'm just going to get straight on into it. So, my introduction. For my Tableau Vivant, I have chosen to set my tableau in the civil rights era. This movement was aimed to achieve equal rights and segregation and discrimination against the African Americans and people of color. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, was achieved. However, the struggle for racial justice and equality continues, and there is still a lot of work to be done to address racism and discrimination in the modern-day society. One of the most famous protests during this era occurred at a Woolworths & Co. store in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1960. 4 Black African American college students sat down at a whites-only lunch counter and refused to leave until they were served. Their non-violent protests inspired similar sit-ins at other department stores across the country and encouraged non-violent protests and taking a stand. During this era, many storefronts and department stores during this time had racist slogans and signs. These slogans and signs included language like whites only and colored not allowed. These signs were a clear indication of the discriminatory politics that were in place throughout the country, and they served as a reminder of the work needed to be done to achieve racial equality. The civil rights movement helped bring significant change in our society, including the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. This meant that no matter your race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, you had equal rights and freedom to live equally in society. While there is still a lot of work to be done as a society for racism and equality, the civil rights movement will forever be a huge historical event. So I go straight into my Tableau Vivant design process and my symbols throughout my Tableau Vivant as well. So my symbol 1 is protest signs. So the symbol of having slogans and protest signs in front of my Woolworths & Co. storefront in the civil rights movement, including signs from both the civil rights movement and Black Lives Matter, represents the power of protest activism and the right for equality. The Woolworths & Co. storefront is significant because it was a site of the sit-in protests during the civil rights movement. By placing slogans and signs in front of the storefront, I am highlighting the historical context and activism that took place during this time. The civil rights era signs, circled in blue, represent the struggle and ongoing actions the African American and people of color took in pursuit of equal rights, justice, and an era of racial segregation. By incorporating signs from the Black Lives Matter movement, circled in red, represents the historical struggle of the civil rights movement with the ongoing fight for racial justice today. The modern-day signs symbolize the struggle and emphasize the importance of addressing racism and equality in the present day. I added signs circled in yellow with my own creative and personal slogans. I have used Photoshop to manipulate the image from the civil rights era and modern day era to add layers of creativity and expression throughout my tableau. Overall, the symbol of slogans and signs in front of the Woolworths & Co. storefront in the civil rights movement and incorporating signs from both the civil rights era and Black Lives Matter, along with the manipulation through Photoshop, creates a powerful tableau vivant that highlights the ongoing struggle for racial equality and justice. My Tableau Vivant design process continues, and I go into my symbol 2, which is a woman of color. The symbol 2 in my Tableau Vivant is a woman of color from the modern day era, taking a photo of the storefront with protest signs in support of the civil rights era. The woman of color in my Tableau Vivant serves as a representation of the modern day generation, highlighting the ongoing relevance and connection to the struggle of the civil rights era and the struggle for racial justice today. The women's presence and engagement with the protest signs show the fight for equality and justice is a cross-generational effort. The costume I have chosen for the women of color is a tailored black pant, tailored black top, and some runners. I wanted to showcase how a modern day working woman looks today and highlight the difference and evolution we have had as a society over time. The woman also has copper hair and tattoos. During the civil rights movement, women's fashion was influenced by feminist movement. However, it is extremely unlikely that a black African American woman in that era had tattoos or colored hair, as it wasn't accepted in society. I have used Photoshop to select only the woman and her iPhone to create the visual effect that she is in the scene of the Tableau Vivant. Incorporating these modern day elements in my Tableau Vivant set in the civil rights movement again is a powerful way to connect the past and the present while also highlighting ongoing struggle for social justice. My Tableau Vivant design process continues, and I am now going into my symbol 3, which is the iPhone and Instagram. My third symbol in my Tableau Vivant is an iPhone showcasing Instagram. The woman of color in my previous symbol is holding an iPhone and taking a photo of a Woolworths & Co. storefront with protest signs in support of the civil rights era, and posting it on Instagram represents the power of social media, photographic storytelling, and digital activism. Using the iPhone to capture this scene and posting a photo onto Instagram highlights the power of social media as a tool for activism and raising awareness. It signifies how technology and other online platforms have transformed and helped raise awareness for social justice movements. Having the woman post a photo onto Instagram, the woman demonstrates the ability to reach a global audience and shine light on the issue of racial injustice. I have used Photoshop to insert a manipulated image of the Woolworths & Co. storefront onto the woman's iPhone. When having the photo taken, I made sure Instagram was open on the iPhone so I could easily slot the edited photo onto the screen. I have used a blurring tool to emulate the image on the iPhone to look real without blurring too much of the manipulated photograph. My Tableau Vivant design process continues, and now I'm going into lighting. I have chosen to do black and white contrast lighting for my Tableau Vivant as it creates a powerful visual effect which adds an additional layer of symbolism and meaning to the scene. The original photo of the Woolworths & Co. store is black and white, and I wanted to keep that same emotion. The use of black and white contrast lighting is commonly associated with the past, particularly with historical moments and events that have shaped our society. By using this lighting technique, I believe I have evoked feeling of nostalgia and remembrance, which are appropriate for the era of the civil rights movement. To the right, I am now going into the medium that I have used. The medium I have used to create my Tableau Vivant vary. I have used the original photograph of the Woolworths & Co. storefront. The woman of color photograph was taken with an iPhone camera, and I photoshopped it into the medium of the Woolworths & Co. storefront. Not only did I Photoshop the woman, I also Photoshopped and placed protest signs from both the civil rights era and the modern day era. The combination of historical authenticity with a contemporary twist bridges the gap between both past and present. I believe my choice of medium and techniques showcase creativity, incorporating different elements to my tableau. So I'm going into my Tableau Vivant final idea, but I'm going to talk about it on the next slide so I can have my final Tableau Vivant larger so you can really take it in. My Tableau Vivant represents a powerful and symbolic portrayal of the civil rights movement, combining historical elections with a contemporary feel. The scene at the Woolworths & Co. storefront captures the essence of the era, where a significant protest took place and advocated for racial equality in a non-violent way. The arranged Tableau Vivant includes slogans and protest signs from the Civil Rights Movement era and the Black Lives Matter movement. By including both, it is a reminder of the ongoing struggle for racial injustice. These signs portray and demand for equal rights, justice, and an end to racial discrimination that categorize the civil rights movement. Having a woman of colour from the modern day era adds an interesting dimension to my tableau. By having her capture the scene on her iPhone and posting this on Instagram, she becomes a witness and participant in a historical matter. Her actions represent the power of social media and technology in the fight for social change and highlighting the connections from both past and present in the struggle for racial equality. At the touch of our hands, we have the power to encourage and create change with the use of modern-day technology. Overall, this Tableau Vivant has potential to be a powerful and thought-provoking representation of the struggle for racial justice and equality during the Civil Rights Movement era, and the continued relevance of the struggle in a contemporary society. My Tableau Vivant presents a representation of the Civil Rights Movement, connecting again the past and the present, and emphasizes the ongoing struggle for racial equality. My Tableau Vivant is a reminder of the historical significance of the era while showcasing the power of modern-day technology and social media. My conclusion. Overall, my Tableau Vivant is aimed to evoke emotions such as reflection, empathy, connection, inspiration, and awareness. By reflecting on historical context of the civil rights movement, my audience, who I believe could be anyone, are prompted to consider the progress made and the work that still needs to be done. Empathy is directly directed to the individuals who fought for civil rights, and I want viewers to be able to recognize their challenges, but most importantly, their courage. My aim in the scene of my Tableau Vivant is to encourage the importance of non-violent protests, engage in changing how some of society view activism and racial equality. Also raising awareness about the importance in understanding historical movements and their relevance in modern-day contemporary issues, like, in conclusion, of the Black Lives Matter. And I go straight into my referencing. I hope that you have enjoyed my Tableau Vivant final design. I really, really loved researching this era, and I actually really enjoyed creating this piece. I've definitely found a new passion for racial equality. I've always been extremely passionate about equality in all aspects. So like same-sex marriages, religion. I just don't think that anyone should be judged on anything like that. But yeah, I feel like my Tableau Vivant has really opened my eyes. So I really do hope that it opens other people's eyes as well. Thank you so much.